I've said it and I'll say it again because I think it needs to be echoed until they get it through their fat skulls. The mainstream media is frickin' public enemy number one right now.
The corporate media just showed their true colors, and it's sickening. While Charlie Kirk's blood was still fresh, while his family was planning a funeral, ABC News looked at text messages from his confessed killer and called them, wait for it, touching. Not horrifying, not evidence of premeditated murder. Touching. Because the assassin called his transgender roommate my love while admitting to political murder. This is the same media that turned every January 6th selfie into terrorism. But when a conservative icon gets gunned down, suddenly they're writing romantic poetry about the killer's final messages. And the bias is no longer hidden. It is right there in your face. Now, we did recently cover a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company. We believed it had serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star, they just signed an MOU with the American Corp to push forward their U.S. growth strategy. And here's why the timing is important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. Now, this is not just about mining. It's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise, combined with supportive policy environment, means that they are stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? So I wouldn't bet against it. Western Star Resources making gold and silver great again, and we thank them for sponsoring this program and making this show possible. Lots to unpack in this one. The trash media added again, not just the trash media, but also Starbucks. Check this out. A patron went into Starbucks this morning and ordered Charlie Kirk's favorite drink, mint Majesty with honey. When their cup came back, it was marked with the word loser across it. No customer should ever be mocked or insulted because of what they order or they believe. This is blatant bias, unprofessional, and unacceptable. Call Starbucks out and demand accountability. Share the story. Don't let corporations get away with politically driven harassment. Apparently, this happened at the Starbucks number 47593 in Chicago. This is the picture of the cup, the green mint Majesty, and they wrote loser right there on the cup. Unbelievable. Sick people. And speaking of sick people, Jasmine Crockett, she's been doing some nasty stuff, and she's on the chopping block. Here's another moment at Starbucks, too. This was posted by Derek Evans. Americans have been ordering Charlie Kirk's favorite Starbucks drink in his honor. The Starbucks employee says their system's been programmed to ban the name Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
This is in...
You want two, honey? Two? Okay. Hi, let me get a grande mint Majesty with 2 honeys.
Let me ring you up over here, okay?
Okay.
Perfect. What else today?
Oh, that's it.
Perfect. What was the name for the order? Or actually, you need to make.
The name is Charlie Kirk.
We can't do political names, but it didn't even ask for a name to begin with, so it's going to be $3.75, okay?
Oh, but can you write the name on the cup?
The sticker won't print.
Oh, you can't write on it?
I could, but I could write Charlie.
Why can't you write the whole name?
Because it's political.
Political?
Yes, yeah. Let me start your key for you, okay? And it's going to be $3.75 today.
You know what? Forget it. I don't want it.
Yeah, I'm sure if you gave him any other name, they would be happy to write it. So where do we begin? I mean, Don Lemon making some nasty comments. Don Lemon says MAGA doesn't really care about Charlie Kirk. They're using this moment for clicks.
Thing is the thing that is so obvious about it. And I think this is so disgusting is that you don't really care. You don't really care about Charlie Kirk. What you care is that this is a moment that you can use for clicks, to boost your podcast or your streaming show or your radio show or your television show or your news show or your MAGA bona fides with the MAGA group or your political stripes, that you can improve it, or you can have a moment where you're crying in front of the cameras. You gather all the reporters at the Capitol and you go, and it's your fault, and it's your fault, and it's the left, and whatever. And the thing that is so obvious about it.
Yeah, he's just one of them. Rachel Maddow, too. We found this. This is beautiful news. New College of Florida announces Charlie Kirk statue to honor the assassinated conservative icon to defend and fight for free speech and civil discourse in American life. Look at that. New College of Florida posting this picture, a bronze statue of Charlie Kirk sitting at a table with a microphone, hoping for conversation and dialogue. Representative Derek Van Orden, Republican of Wisconsin, tells legacy media reporters to their faces that they're complicit in the attempts on President Trump's life and for the taking of Charlie Kirk's. The reporter tries to interrupt, and he tells her to be quiet.
Assassination, yes. Every one of you are. You're complicit in the attempted assassination of Donald Trump twice. You bear. Just be quiet. You are responsible for this because you are echoing the horrifically horrible political violent rhetoric that's being produced by the Democrat Party. Every single one of you here.
How can you say
you're
that
at fault?
You don't even know who the shooter is.
You know what? Knock it off. Knock it off.
Do you believe Republicans have problematic rhetoric?
You are responsible for that assassination yesterday, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
What about
it's disgusting.
Telling it like it is. Here's a clip from Rachel Maddow. No, let's go to this one. ABC. ABC reports the text messages of Kirk's suspected killer confessing to the murder are very touching.
In a way that I think many we have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
It was tough.
Yeah, calling my love. On PBS, the Atlantic staff writer David Frum claims that anger over people making light of Charlie Kirk's murder hurt is a powerful resource for a president who is afraid he's going to lose 2026. That Trump is going to leverage this for 2026.
Asserted power. What I am concerned about is the president and his supporters are making it clear they intend to go after not violent extremists, but simply people who are fundraising to defeat them in elections. The great question that has been haunting America before this assassination is, will the president allow the 2026 midterm elections to be free and fair? Will he try to gerrymander? Will he try to use the power of government to stop his opponents from fundraising? Will he try to use his new asserted powers to detain people without due process against people who are campaigning against him? Those are the issues that you have to worry about. It's not about violent extremism today. Today what we're worried about is, will we have free and fair elections? And as Stephen Miller indicated, as the president said in his nationally televised address, that's the target they're after.
How does Kirk's assassination directly, in your view, play a role in this plan that you're concerned about, that you say is growing increasingly obvious from the rhetoric from the president and his advisors?
Look, after a terrible crime in the internet age, you will find any number of people or bots on the internet saying things that are reprehensible, stupid, provocative, unfeeling. And people who experience the world through online life will see those reprehensible statements and will have natural reactions. Of course, you get if you liked and admired Charlie Kirk, you will be hurt by someone who makes light of the terrible murder. And that feeling of hurt is a powerful resource for a president who is afraid he's going to lose the 2026 elections if they're free and fair, and who has been looking from the beginning and for ways to make sure those elections are not free and fair. So that the emotions of Charlie Kirk supporters are a resource that President Trump and Stephen Miller and those around them are hoping to use, not against criminals, but just against people who want to vote a different way.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Charlie Kirk's death is going to be a rallying cry. That's the truth. Here, we have this. This is from The Motive Remains Elusive. CBS Evening News asserting Charlie Kirk assassination.
A new 5 days after Charlie Kirk's murder, the shooter's motive remains elusive. No writings left behind, vague secondhand testimony. That uncertainty and the risk of drawing sweeping conclusions suggests the murder may share similarities with recent violence not driven by an obvious political ideology. The FBI recently recognized a new category, nihilistic violent extremism. For tonight's interview, we are joined by Matthew Kreiner, the executive director of the Institute for Countering Digital Extremism.
I'm not even going to go there, man. These people are so sick. No motive. Oh, really? Here's Rachel Maddow ranting that Trump's using Charlie Kirk's assassination to crack down on the left, painting it as a dictator's playbook.
For some Another headline today, quote, White House plans broad crackdown on liberal groups. They're saying now they will use the horrific murder of pro-Trump activist Charlie Kirk last week as a justification for some undefined whole-of-government attack on what they always describe very vaguely as the left in this country.
Oh, yeah, there needs to be a crackdown, Rachel. There needs to be a crackdown on all these groups who are not only funding, but radicalizing people like Robinson to kill. How do we get there? How are they financed? All these groups need to be shut down.
Whatever else you think about what Trump is trying to do in office, there is no drama. Right? There's no uncertainty. There's no ambiguity about the agenda, right? It is the textbook agenda of every right-wing strongman everywhere, right? They all do the same thing. They tell people there is an enemy within that demands emergency measures, right?
Yeah.
There's an enemy.
Yeah, there is an emergency. There is an enemy within. Okay, Rachel? And you have helped foster them with your rhetoric for year after year after year.
Within that's nefarious and is responsible for all the terrible things. And so therefore we must have emergency powers and toughness, and we must take off the gloves and break the rules, right? That's textbook stuff. Then you use your control of government to take over or intimidate every source of power and authority in the country, whether or not it has anything to do with the presidency, right? This means crucially the media, but also science and the arts and education and business and the professions. Any source of authority or potential opposition or truth-telling about the bad behavior of the dear leader, that must be shut down. He must consolidate power to include those institutions, even though they are outside of government. Then, next, use your control of government and those institutions to enrich yourself and your family and your allies.
Yeah, I'm done watching Rachel Maddow. Sorry, didn't mean to fill your feed with that, but we have to present to you what the media is saying and how they're framing this. Here we have President Trump unleashing on Ilhan Omar of Somalia. Oh, yeah, she's in some deep, deep crap right now.
The way people. Ilhan Omar, after his assassination, called Charlie Kirk a reprehensible human being. Should she be stripped of her community assignments?
I would say, I think she's a disgraceful person. You know, I think she's a disgraceful person, a loser. It's amazing the way people vote. I know it's people from her area, maybe of the world. I don't know. They got here and they vote her in. It's hard to believe, but I think she's a disgusting person.
And one more question, if I could.
She is a disgusting person. Now we're learning that Nancy Mace is going to censor Ilhan Omar. Ready to follow through and submit to get Ilhan Omar removed from congressional committees. Here is, oh, we got Kid Rock too. This is going to be good. That's coming up. Here is, where's the clip from? I had it here. Nancy Mace. Bear with me for a second here. Okay, so Nancy Mace posted this 23 hours ago. Ilhan Omar has shown us exactly who she is. She defends political violence and refuses to condemn the loss of innocent lives when it doesn't suit her agenda, even the cold-blooded assassination of Charlie Kirk. Here is Nancy Mace on the House floor 4 hours ago, officially filing resolution to remove Ilhan Omar from her committee.
House. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. House Resolution 713, censuring Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota and removing her from the Committee on Education and Workforce and the Committee on the Budget. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a lifelong advocate for freedom of speech, civil political discourse, and the political engagement of youth. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a man of deep faith, a husband and a father to 2 young children. Whereas on September 10, 2025, Charlie Kirk was assassinated on the campus of Utah Valley University while exercising his First Amendment right to freedom of speech. Whereas on September 11, 2025, one day after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Representative Ilhan Omar gave an interview on Zateo's town hall with Mehdi Hassan in which she smeared Charlie Kirk and implied he was to blame for his own murder. Whereas on September 12, 2025, 2 days after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Representative Ilhan Omar reposted a video on X, formerly known as Twitter, which disparaged the character of Charlie Kirk and those mourning his death. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X states Charlie Kirk is dead, and before the body got cold, the far right propped his corpse up as a cudgel for their holy war. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states, don't be fooled. These people don't give a single shit about Charlie Kirk. They're just using his death to further their Christo-fascist agenda. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states Charlie Kirk was a reprehensible human being. He enacted his political agenda by preying on weak-minded people. He took complex socioeconomic issues and simplified them by pointing fingers at outgroups, demonizing those groups, and sicking his massive following on them. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states Charlie Kirk was a stochastic terrorist, an adamant transphobe. He denied the genocide happening in Palestine. He believed the subjugation of women, and in his last dying words, he was spewing racist dog whistles. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states Charlie Kirk was Dr. Frankenstein, and his monster shot him through the neck. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further blames Charlie Kirk for his own murder. Whereas Clause 1 of Rule 13 of the Rules of the House of Representatives provides a member, delegate, resident commissioner, officer, or employee of the House shall behave at all times in a manner that shall reflect credibility on the House. Whereas Representative Ilhan Omar's actions in the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk are reprehensible and affect the dignity and integrity of the proceedings of the House and do not reflect the credibility on the House. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota be censured. Representative Ilhan Omar forthwith present herself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. Representative Ilhan Omar be censured with the public reading of this resolution by the Speaker, and Representative Ilhan Omar be and is hereby removed from the Committee on Education and Workforce and removed from the Committee on the Budget of the House.
Resolution offered from the floor by a member other than the majority leader.
Mr. Speaker.
Let's go. Let's go. Remove her. We got some other clips here we pulled for you guys. Here's more from Nancy Mace on Ilhan Omar.
Office. Here I am standing outside of the anti-American Ilhan Omar's office. Tomorrow we will file a privileged motion to censure her and to strip her of her committee assignments. She is inciting violence against conservatives in the wake of Charlie Kirk's political assassination. She is dehumanizing conservatives all across the country, calling Charlie Kirk a terrorist. We have been villainized and dehumanized far too long. The Democrats set the standard for stripping people of their committee assignments. I'm not going to be silent on this because enough is enough.
Enough is enough. We do have I want to hear what Kid Rock had to say. He was on with Jesse Waters, and here it is. Okay, Kid Rock says the mainstream media is public enemy number one.
Media establishment. I've said it and I'll say it again because I think it needs to be echoed until they get it through their fat skulls. The mainstream media is frickin' public enemy number one right now. Just the clips you just ran of these people from the New York Times and these other nut houses they call media establishments. It's absolutely frickin' ridiculous. I mean, and then they say to, Charlie Kirk, God bless him, by the way, his wife, kids, that, he's inciting this, he's inciting that. I'm someone who understands better than anyone as being a very vocal Trump supporter from day one. They've called me a racist Nazi for years now. I mean, go look up a few facts about my life, my children, where everything. But start to echo this. Just people who write dumb articles who think, I'm trash and I hate my music, and they say he's just a racist Nazi. And, this starts to build and build and build. So you get these nut house kids who are doing nothing but playing video games, watching these occult movies that are all over our streaming services. That won't go outside to play any sports or anything. And, then they think they're going to do something good. I'm going to go kill a Nazi. I'm going to go kill a racist. And they're literally mentally deranged. We need to bring the frickin' nut houses back.
Yeah, you're incentivizing these loner kids to take shots so they can be heroes. And then every time after it happens, kid, they say, oh, we all have to come together. We all have to come to both sides are violent, both sides, and then they just move on and start calling us fascist again.
Well, I've heard a lot of my liberal friends say it, and they're exactly right. Like, you don't want to mess with us people. We have the guns. We know how to use them. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants an all-out war. We understand that everyone on the left is not sick, but there are enough people in the media and enough of these crazy liberals that just create this big echo chamber. And I'm not saying there aren't crazy right-wingers that do some of this too. There's a little bit of guilty on both sides, but these people, I mean, they're supposed to be this inclusive, this, that, and the other. And they're the ones that don't want to talk and get along with anyone, just don't even want to sit down and break bread. I mean, I'm in this business where some of my friends, people I've had big hits with, call me with this whack out stuff all the time.
Yeah, we got to start listening to each other and respect one another. Is there any message you want to get across real quickly to people that are still vandalizing vigils and celebrating this murder?
Yeah, you're going to keep it up. You're going to run into the wrong people. Yeah. Some people I know.
Yeah,
they're not going to play that mess, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be very ugly.
And we don't want it to get that way.
I've said it, and I'll say it again because I think
we don't want it to get that way. Here's Jasmine Crockett says calling Republicans Hitler and Nazis and fascists did not contribute to Charlie Kirk's assassination.
I'd like to ask you to respond to critics who have pointed the finger at Democrats who have used phrases like fascist or Hitler, made comparisons to those things over time. Do you think that that's contributed to this, or are those critics wrong?
They're absolutely wrong. Here's the reality. They don't want American people to know any forms of history. We know that there was news out today about the president going after yet more historical information. The reality is that when we look at what is taking place, when you look at an authoritarian, and what they do is they try to basically say, you have to do whatever the government says, even if that means that your personal freedoms are going to be subjected to whatever we say, whether it's right or wrong. Right now, our personal freedoms are constantly under attack.
I'd like to ask you to respond.
Oh, wow. Here is, we have this MSNBC's Zadrozny suggesting people on the internet are cheering for the murder is the opposite of what's happening.
Opposite. I think if you look across media generally, you have seen a lot of people trying to grapple with Charlie Kirk's legacy and what that is as a right-wing agitator and as a provocateur and as, you know, a strategist and the most important GOP figure besides Donald Trump, arguably ever. And so, or right now. And so there's a lot of grappling to do, but to suggest that the internet is cheering for this is just the opposite. Total opposite of what's actually happening. It is.
Wow.
I think if you look at
that is gaslighting if I've ever seen it. Oh, we got a great exchange here. Cornel West storming off the set during a debate over Charlie Kirk's murder. But I got this clip here. Here is Hakeem Jeffries is asked about his responsibility to curb and condemn vile rhetoric about Charlie Kirk's murder from Democrats like Ilhan Omar. His response that Trump is the problem.
Political violence. What do you think your responsibility is as the leader of the Democrats to curb rhetoric that might be inflammatory, and specifically that of Omar? We have made clear that political violence directed at anyone in any way or in any place is unacceptable in the United States of America, and every member of Congress and certainly the President of the United States have a responsibility to take the temperature down and ensure that we are lifting people up.
Yeah, well, that's not what Ilhan Omar has been doing at all. We've got this clip from J.B. Pritzker, Kevin Dalton posting, J.B. Pritzker, I never called them Nazis. Also J.B. Pritzker, okay, so maybe I called Trump, Hitler, and Republican Nazis on a couple occasions.
A constitution. That is completely false. I have never called Republicans Nazis. Everything that he has done has been tearing down constitutional democracy. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany. It doesn't take very long to tear apart a constitutional republic. Indeed, the Nazis did it in 53 days. And our democracy is almost as fragile. And we're seeing it right now. The dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany, especially in the earliest days of Nazi Germany, are the dangers that we need to react to now. If we don't, things will get much, much worse. And so we've got to raise alarm bells to everybody. It's a 5-alarm fire, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Look at all those tweets. All those tweets from Pritzker. Yeah. He is part of the problem, too, with his rhetoric. What's not part of the problem are these students who stood up to their school board at Barrington High School. Students show up to the school board meeting to call out and demand the firing of a teacher who celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination. The teacher deserves to lose his job.
And as a people, we've decided to come up and give our perspective on the subject, considering it is our teacher and one of the people that will guide our futures. No matter what anyone says to me, I will never stand for violence, especially of a man who was publicly murdered in front of his wife, one of his children, thousands of students, and other bystanders. Charlie was not a racist, he did not hurt anyone sexually, and he did not kill anyone. Therefore, this was...
Unjustified cause of death should never be celebrated. They are calling for their teachers' firing. Who's at fault here? Who's at fault here? The media. CNN commentator Kate Bedingfield claims that she's seen nothing negative about Charlie Kirk from Democrats.
They condemn it. So for it's on the bullet case. I have seen nothing but Democrats in the wake of this murder saying that it was awful.
You've seen nothing?
I have seen them
literally nothing?
Elected Democrats, I have seen them saying nothing but it was horrific, that they condemn it, that they are sorry for his family, that this is an awful moment in the country. I've seen President Trump do nothing but say it was the Democrats' fault.
Can I just jump in here for a second?
Lulu, yes, go ahead.
I just want to read the words of someone who I think is very wise in the wake of 2019.
So for it's on the
Yeah, it's on the books. It's on the bullets. The media continuing to gaslight America. Oh, speaking of gaslighting, here's this Letitia James telling Joy Reid mortgage fraud allegations against her are baseless. Yeah, Tish out there trying to gaslight us as well. But I think we got a lot of problems here. Starbucks. But at least we have this beautiful thing in Florida. New College of Florida. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This is journalism in 2025, sanitizing political assassins while demonizing their victims. ABC finds murderers' love notes touching. Rachel Maddow spins demands for justice as dictatorship. Don Lemon says we're exploiting death for clicks while his network exploited every riot for ratings. They're not reporting news. They are running interference for killers. And when students brave enough to confront teachers who celebrated Kirk's death, where's the media? They're silent. When Nancy Mace files to censure Ilhan Omar for her vile comments, they call it overreach. The same press that spent years calling words violence now calls actual violence touching. So here's my question. Has mainstream media become an active threat to public safety by humanizing political assassins? Yes or no? Let me hear it in the comments. They've chosen their side. We must choose ours. Time to fight back. Get your American badass gear. We've got one featuring Charlie Kirk on it. Beautiful memorial for him. It's at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, and show them we see through their lies.